America is deeply divided. There are only two sides to every issue, and there is no interest in finding common ground, not even with members of your own family. But as the 2024 presidential election looms on the horizon, there has never been a more important time to have the necessary conversation. Welcome to the necessary conversation. Merry Christmas. This is a very special Christmas episode. We're still getting together as we do once a week. Jesus Christ. My dad's sticking out his tongue at us. And this podcast is, of course, a conversation between myself, my fellow liberal sister, Haley Pope, and our two MAGA QAnon super right-wing parents, Bob and Mary Lou. How's everybody doing on this Christmas?
You left out geniuses.
Geniuses as well, I forgot.
Mm-hmm.
How's everybody doing on Christmas?
Merry Christmas.
It's not Christmas.
Fine.
All right. Well, that's our festivities for the year. You'll
tomorrow is
idea of our family dynamic there. All right, we're going to begin today's podcast by asking my dad about a prediction he made on January 29th of this year. That's almost a year ago now, 329 days ago. You said a nuclear weapon would be used in Ukraine within 30 to 40 days. We're 329 days past that prediction. Do you consider the prediction to have been wrong?
No, and they already used a nuke way past my prediction before it came true.
Okay. But you were talking about in the war in Ukraine.
That's what I'm talking about.
They use a nuclear weapon there?
Yes, they did.
All right. I'm unaware of this.
I know you're not.
Okay.
It's because you watch MSNBC.
I guess we'll hope that
Rachel
you can
Maddow, the man
provide some proof of that next podcast, but
all right.
I'm not aware of what you're talking about.
Yeah, I just woke up.
All right.
What I'm talking about is they have used nuclear missiles. They did it way back in the beginning of the war.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you can provide some proof of that, happy to examine it.
I've been letting you go on and on and on and on, and you're wrong.
Okay.
All right. Well, we're going to move on now to the portion of our program in which we take a question from a listener. If anybody out there wants to submit their questions to this podcast, you just record a 1 minute or shorter audio clip, send it to the necessary conversation at gmail.com. Sorry, it's the necessary conversation pod at gmail.com. I go through all of them. Here we go. This is the question. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
I hope it's about gay black woman in Harvard.
Okay. God.
Here we go.
Damn.
This question is for Chad and Haley. I'm curious if you feel like your parents have always been at this level of passion and conviction in regards to their conservative and right-wing beliefs, or if you've noticed a change that they might not have held all of these beliefs or have been as passionate about it when you were younger, but maybe since the Trump administration or a certain moment in time that they kind of took a turn to express more of these beliefs with as much vigor and passion as they do now. So I'm curious to hear what you all have to say about that.
All right. Haley, we've talked about this a little bit, but Haley, what do you think was the thing that, because they weren't, the answer is no. When we were kids, you guys were definitely not like this. So what was the thing that flipped the switch? What do you think it was, Haley? When do you notice this first?
2016, Donald Trump, 100%. I know that they've always been, yeah. Maybe
I think
Obama.
It was Obama.
It was
and
Obama.
Then you have to start asking,
yeah.
Well, what was it about Obama?
We know what it was about Obama.
Was it about Obama?
Black Muslim.
But I
Not an American.
I remember,
Okay.
I remember them.
America.
I remember them being conservative. I mean, we went to fucking church as children.
But barely.
I also remembered, right. I think at some point they said, like, it's all bullshit. We're not going anymore.
Yeah.
But I also remember Dad having a fucking copy of Dianetics
Yeah, I
Do you
remember that.
remember this?
Yeah.
Let 'em
And-
You
talk.
were
and
reading
so-
Scientology.
Yeah, he literally had L. Ron Hubbard like in the fucking living room on the coffee table. So I do remember
And
that.
Mein Kampf.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Hey, I've got a copy of Mein Kampf. Don't
Why
I?
not? Yeah.
But
I
it
do.
definitely ramped
Have you read
up.
it?
I started. I only got about halfway through it.
Okay.
It ramped up, I think. So Obama kind of sparked something, but I think it really fucking like whole hog when Trump
Yes,
became
it is.
president. That's when like
Too.
they went fucking mad.
Experience.
Like that's when all of the mental shit started.
Yeah, I agree. My parents are whispering amongst themselves. What are you guys saying?
Go ahead and finish, and then we'll talk.
She did. It's your turn. Go ahead.
I think when you get in the last quarter of your life, when you have experienced what we
You
have
go crazy.
experienced,
No.
and oh, that's nice. Merry Christmas.
We
to you.
know for a fact that we either win this election or our country's over and our way of life is over. And if our way of life is over, the left wing, their
Mhm.
life is over, as many as I can take with me.
I
And
think
you
too-
believe sorry, Mom, go ahead.
I think too, as you get older, there are a couple things that you get most passionate about, and this is one of them for us.
Politics.
And by the way, Haley is correct.
What?
That our change to the more impassionate version of us now started with Barack fucking Obama.
Right. And why was it?
No, it had nothing to do with Donald
What was it
Trump.
about Obama that sparked you guys?
He's
He
black. He's black.
He
He's a
hates
Muslim.
America.
He hates America.
So
and
it's
he wants it to
racism
go
first,
down the
though.
shitter. Huh?
Racism is at the top of the list.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
He's not even Muslim though.
Yes, he is. His
He's not.
father was a radical Muslim.
Uh-huh.
You didn't know this, Haley? Your beloved
Ob-
black
Stop it.
president, his
Stop it.
dad was one of the most radical Muslims on the planet.
Okay.
Great. Barack Obama is not a Muslim.
Yes, he is.
Alexa, is Barack Obama of Muslim faith? She's talking.
Oh, what?
He identifies,
Identifies as a
Christian,
Christian.
but he's
Yeah.
a fucking Muslim. His fucking middle name's Hussein, for God's sake.
Okay.
Do you think Trump is Christian?
Alexa,
Doesn't matter.
No.
He's not a Muslim.
All right.
Anybody who's a Muslim is my dead enemy now.
okay.
I think that just my 2 cents on this, it definitely was during Obama. And I think Obama had that effect on a lot of people. A lot of people who were just racist in America, but it had only been white president, white president, white president. Oh my God, here's a black president. I think it was such a
Who
shock
fucked
to the
everything up.
system,
Okay.
to
Who
people who
literally
were
fucked
extremely racist,
everything up.
like my parents. I believe that shock to the system is what really allowed Trump to even become president, because he was running on a lot of racist rhetoric. And I think people like you guys were like, yep, that's my guy. He's saying all this coded racist
You
shit. Some of the stuff
damn
is
straight.
overtly racist. And it's like, we can't have another black president was basically why Trump got elected, in my opinion. And you guys were a part of that. You were a part of that movement.
Yeah.
All right. So there you
100%.
have it.
Merry
Again,
Christmas.
if you want to submit your question to this very podcast, to any of us or all of us,
Oh.
it's an email.
Let me
that is
ask you a question.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question. You consider Mom and I racist? Do you consider all your left-wing motherfuckers who are against Israel racist?
Who are my left-wing motherfuckers?
Everybody that goes to fucking Harvard, all these kids
I don't know
that are
anybody who goes
protest-
to Harvard.
all these
Oh my
kids
God.
that are protesting the movement, they're all Palestinian lovers. Are they not racist?
Let
Don't,
him-
don't it's a yes or
let
no
him
fucking
answer.
question.
I don't know any of these people, and I won't lump them into one category
Oh,
and say
Jesus.
everyone at Harvard is racist or not. How could
Yeah,
I
they
possibly
are.
know that?
Yeah, they are. Well, look at their president. She got there because of fucking equal rights. She isn't qualified to do shit. She stole every bit of her doctoral thesis from another woman.
No, not
That's not
every-
true.
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I read a
Oh,
lot about this
true.
because it was
3
potentially going to
days
be a
ago.
topic today, but I was like,
Oh,
this isn't
yeah.
important enough.
3
Obama
days-
actually
Let's bring
was
in the
instrumental in
bald-headed
getting
gay
her in
black
that
woman.
position and there have been some instances in her PhD thesis
Wait a minute.
that
Please be quiet for a minute. Go
that
ahead, Chad.
were taken from other sources and not cited as such. They were not quoted and not cited.
Chad.
Plagiarized.
Harvard,
Chad.
listen, I'm just telling you what the facts are. Harvard has
Okay.
investigated it, and their board has said the actions they found in her papers did not constitute an action that was worth any kind of punishment.
But 2 days ago, they found 40 more things that she did with taking other people's
and
writings.
She may
and
still have her
information.
job, but they're losing hundreds of millions of donations every day.
Yes,
And
that
guess
is also
who
true.
is
I did read that.
behind the push to keep her. We know who it is.
Obama.
Roy. Whoa.
I know. All of that is true.
Need to bleep that,
I don't know if
Chad.
she plagiarized or not. That still, I think, is like kind of up in the air. It's not looking good. But look, I agree with you. I think there's a lot of things that are very bad about the current system of the United States university system. What?
You won't bleep it anyway.
Bleep what? Did
Dad
you say
said
something?
a bad word. Yes.
Yes.
Why?
He did.
Just to derail what I'm saying?
No, he just said a bad word.
What was it? What was it? So I can go back and beep it. Hello?
You know what it would be?
Was it the N word?
Yes.
Yes.
Why do you do it, Dad?
I don't know.
Just comes out.
All right.
Call them like I see them.
First topic. So that's somewhere around 10 minutes in. I'll have to go back and find it.
We didn't know who the question person was because that voice was very familiar.
What was her name? Know that person.
What was her name?
I don't know. I didn't get a name. It was just a question sent. Not everybody puts their name and address on them.
Why not? Well, that should be a mandatory, or you
All right.
can't, or we can't.
Let's start the podcast off with our first topic.
Now, from now on, though, you need to put out here on our podcast: if you attended Harvard University, you are not eligible to submit a question.
Oh dear God!
I will not say that. Everyone is eligible to submit a question, regardless of where they did or did not go to college.
And I'll go one step. If it comes from somebody that's from Harvard and you know it, I will not answer it.
Okay, there you have it. My dad is protesting answering a question on a family podcast if the question comes from someone who went to Harvard University.
That's right.
We
are banning Harvard University from the Kultgens household. It no longer exists.
All right.
Harvard is dead.
Speaking of things that no longer exist,
hey, what happened?
Trump is off the ballots in Colorado. Last Tuesday, in a 4-3 decision, the Colorado Supreme Court ruled that Donald Trump is disqualified by the Constitution
fucking talk
from serving as president again because he stoked an insurrection on January 6, 2021, and therefore would not appear on the 2024 presidential election ballots in that state. The case will likely head to the U.S. Supreme Court for a final decision, but since Tuesday...
It's already been overturned. He has got to go through the appellate process first. The Supreme Court already ruled on that. They will not hear it. It has to go to the appellate court. This will not take effect before the election now.
But I'm going to go ahead and read all of this, and then we can start talking.
And it's
but since Tuesday, Colorodo's decision is being cited by voters and politicians in a variety of states who are seeking to use the 14th Amendment's insurrection clause to kick Trump off ballots in their own states. That clause states that anyone who, in quotes, engaged in insurrection or rebellion after taking oath of office to support the Constitution is forbidden from holding any public office. In Michigan, a group of voters suing to bar Trump from the state's ballot quickly brought the Colorado decision to the attention of the Michigan Supreme Court, filing a letter on Wednesday saying that the Colorado court had resolved several issues relevant to their own case, including that Section 3 of the 14th Amendment applies to the office of the presidency and that the attack at the Capitol on January 6th amounted to an insurrection. In Maine, Secretary of State Shenna Bellows had said that she would rule on challenges to Trump's qualifications by Friday, but in the wake of the Colorado ruling, her office said in an email that her decision would be delayed due in part to the outcome of that case. In New York, 2 lawsuits have been filed so far to keep Trump off the primary ballot. And in California, a wide range of political actions have been taken to possibly try to achieve the same outcome. Now, Dad, you've already kind of answered this because you can't allow the questions to be read. But what will the Supreme Court rule on this? Haley, what do you think?
It already has. You're behind. They ruled on it yesterday. They are forcing Colorado and everybody else to go to the appellate process first. Therefore, Jack Smith and his horse shit are dead. Nobody else is going to file. They're not going to, it's not going to fly.
Let Haley answer.
Supreme Court already ruled on it, bud. They're making them
Chad's
go to
looking
the
it up
appellate
right now.
court.
Yeah,
The
they're
Supreme
gonna. It's
Court
gonna
hates
have to go to the
everyone, so
appellate
it's-
court, but
Right,
that
and
will
you know what
rise to
that
the Supreme
takes?
Court.
You know what that takes? Months.
Yes, I agree
He
with
got
you.
fucked. Jack
But this can be
Smith got the
expedited.
big finger.
All right.
Oh.
Well, Haley, what do you think the Supreme Court's going to rule on this? I think it will eventually go there. I think it's going to go through the appellate courts all the way to the Supreme Court.
I think Trump will always fucking get off. The Supreme Court is fucking stacked and we know it. So, I mean, it doesn't really fucking matter, which is awful because, you know, all these states are trying to he literally caused the insurrection. Like you're acting like that didn't happen.
That's
You're acting
basically
like
by
what.
the
that's
way-
not
No.
Oh, by the way, Texas is now, if they would have let this go through, they were going to take Biden off the ballot.
The lieutenant governor suggested.
under what grounds?
Same
For
one.
what?
Same one. They don't like
Bribery.
him.
That he caused the insurrection?
Citing an insurrection?
Bribery. Miss bribery is a impeachable offense, and they're going to take him off the ballot for it.
All right. Well, let me ask you this, Mom and Dad. This is kind of like a general question related to this
All
issue.
this stuff you're talking about right this minute,
Yeah.
absolutely has nothing to
All right.
do with price.
Do you think that this is how American government should work? One side does something
No.
petty. I'm going to take you off the ballot. Well, then we're going to take you
No.
off the ballot.
You know what made this all petty? Joe Biden and the fucking DOJ.
Yeah.
In particular, Merrick Garland made all this possible for you.
Okay.
You want to keep that
Let me-
motherfucker in office?
Yeah.
Okay.
What would you do, Dad, if Trump is kicked off the Oklahoma ballot?
I would get my gun and go out and get rid of the first, however many it takes them to kill me first.
Who? Who are you shooting?
Democrats. I go straight down the Capitol building and start eliminating Democrat politicians.
So you're making an open threat against Oklahoma state senators? Who?
If they take my candidate off my ballot, you goddamn right.
Okay.
I'm going to die before I let that happen.
Okay.
Okay.
Here it says, I just Googled
And they
something.
better know it.
It said the Texas Lieutenant Governor,
Yeah.
Dan Patrick, who is a Republican, on Tuesday suggested that President Biden be off the ballot in Texas due to his handling of immigration, citing that the Colorado Supreme Court's ruling to kick off former President Trump off the ballot. We'll just do that, he said.
But they
So he
can't do it.
wants to
They
take
can't
him
do
off.
that.
Okay, they can't do that to Trump either.
They've done it.
No.
No.
Yes, he as
He's
of
not
now
off their
No.
ballot.
No, he's
No.
in
not
Colorado
off the
he
ballot.
is. That now has
No,
to go
he's
through the
not.
appellate courts.
No, he's not.
Alexa, is former President
Alexa's not
Trump
gonna know
off
this.
the ballot of Colorado?
Alexa's
of
not a
now.
strong enough AI to know this.
She
Now my
didn't know.
Alexa's talking to me. All right, look. Let me ask you this. If Trump is removed from ballots in states that he's likely going to lose
It's
anyway.
war.
Okay.
Okay.
That's the point.
Oh, Jesus.
That's the
Let
point.
him
Chad,
talk.
Chad, that's the point where people like me go to war.
I believe you will never, in quotes, go to war. People like you,
Yeah.
I believe, will never go to war.
That's
don't know what
because
that
you
war
don't
looks like.
believe. That's
Are you
because
guys going to
don't
see that movie
believe-
Civil War, by the way?
No, I ain't gonna watch your bullshit.
It looks good. Looks good to me.
Yeah.
I
I wrote a
called
movie
for
very
that.
similar to it in 2017 called
I
Civilians. That
called
was about an American
I
Civil
called that,
War.
I called that long time ago, buddy, and it's coming true.
All
And
right.
it will not be just a civil war; it will be
Okay.
a racial civil war.
All right. Okay. So this is the question I was trying to ask. If Trump is taken off the ballots in these states that he's likely going to lose anyway, but he's not taken off the ballots in the states that he actually could win, do you think that it helps him get stronger turnout in those states he can win because people get more pissed off?
100%.
I think
Potentially.
I've watched a lot of stuff on TV. I've read about it. People are already mad about it. And they said this is
Even de-
only going to
even
help him
Democrats.
more. Only going
Right.
to help him more.
Even though your side of the fence is starting to get pissed off.
Mhm.
Yep.
All right. Well, I am not on any side of the fence. I hate
Yeah, you
both
are.
the Republican and Democratic parties.
Yes, he
I
is.
think they're
He's
both
going to vote.
terrible.
He will. he has to vote for Trump.
Yeah.
He's on one. You did take a stand.
Yes.
You will
That's
vote
not
for
a stand.
Trump.
I hate Donald Trump. Casting
you're
my
gonna
vote for him is a gift to you, Dad.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's a stand you took.
It
Damn
is not
nice.
a stand. It's me saying I don't give a shit about my vote.
Yet.
So I'm going to give it to you.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
also
that's
because
if-
I know that vote doesn't matter in California.
If he's
You
on
mean
the
Texas.
California
Yeah,
ballot.
if he's on the California ballot. You know what? Even if he's not, I'll write him in for you. Let's move on to our next topic. Wisconsin is ordered to redraw its voting districts. Last Friday, the Wisconsin Supreme Court ruled that the state's legislative maps, which give Republicans an unfair advantage, are unconstitutional and ordered new districts to be drawn for the 2024 election. The 4-3 decision overturning the current maps in a key battleground state carries major implications for the 2024 election and comes after liberals won control of the court this spring. The Wisconsin case is one of several redistricting fights occurring across the country that could determine control of governing bodies from local governing boards to state legislatures and the U.S. House of Representatives. In its ruling Friday, the Wisconsin Supreme Court said that the state constitution requires districts be comprised of contiguous territory. At least 50 of 99 assembly districts and at least 20 of 33 Senate districts violate that mandate, rendering them unconstitutional. Although the new map isn't agreed upon yet, all affected parties.
Longer paragraph? Jeez.
Go ahead.
Although the new map isn't agreed upon yet, all affected parties will have the opportunity to submit their suggestions, and the final outcome will likely put Republicans, who hold a supermajority in the Wisconsin House, in a much worse position than they have been for the past decade.
Wisconsin don't matter.
Wisconsin is considered a swing state in the presidential race, with Biden having won in 2020 by less than 3 points. So it does matter a great deal.
And right now, the polls say Trump's winning that state.
Well,
by
after these districts get redrawn, he's not going to have a chance to. That's the whole point of this.
Oh, is that right?
Yes. Do you, Mom, think that this is cheating to
Of
force them
course
to
it is.
redraw these districts?
Of course it is. They're trying to win at any cost,
Right?
any way they can do it.
Which is fair
But
play, right?
you said it's unconstitutional, correct?
Yes.
Like that's what they're.
The Wisconsin Supreme Court said the way the Republicans drew these voting districts, which contain 33 out of 50 senatorial districts, have non-contiguous areas, which means you'd have like a little circle here, and then somewhere else way over on the map, a little circle here, and those two things are in one district. Makes no sense.
Why? And why all of a sudden do we have to change it now? Because Trump's going to win. All the Democrats are scared.
This is a constant fight between the two political parties.
They're grasping at any little thing they can.
No, that's wrong.
You know what the problem with Minnesota,
redistricting, gerrymandering is something that
by the way,
parties do all the time.
Campaign in
and Republicans and Democrats. I was just trying to talk whenever you talked.
Go ahead.
Both parties do this. Both parties gerrymander. Both parties try to get their Jesus Christ. Both parties try to get the districts redrawn to favor themselves. Always. This is constant. The Republicans have been way worse about it in the last 20 years or so. But this is kind of correcting it a little bit. And now the Democrats are going to step in and try to draw the box around whatever's going to be most favorable to them, because they've won the Supreme Court. They control most of the high-ranking people in that court. They're all liberal. So isn't that fair play? That's exactly what's happening in the actual Supreme Court right now, the federal Supreme Court. Trump has stacked it with these right-wing maniacs who will support him. Now we're seeing the opposite happen. Don't you think that's fair?
I'm just tired of it all.
But is it fair is the question. And where did Dad
Nothing
go?
in life
Has he
is
left?
fair,
Is he
Dad.
still sitting there?
Nothing in life is fair. You know this.
Okay.
Is it fair?
I personally don't think any of this shit. This is all fucking noise. Noise. White noise.
Okay. There you go.
Okay. Do you think
there's no such thing as black noise?
Do you think other swing states where Republican gerrymandering has made the vote lopsided in their favor are going to start seeing corrections like this coming from their own Supreme Courts before the presidential election? Haley?
Yes. Yes.
I think
the first one sets the fucking precedent. Like with Trump, getting taken off the ballot in Colorado.
Different people.
More will follow suit. It's the same fucking scenario here.
Yeah.
as the election gets closer, we're going to see all kinds of stuff because the Democrats.
Yeah, ALC is going to lose her job because Trump is going to go to Brooklyn and campaign against her.
All right.
What?
I think.
He's going to make a trip to Brooklyn. No Republican candidate's ever done that because he thinks Brooklyn is about to turn on the squad.
The Democrats feel the crunch coming. Biden's losing on every poll there is. They're going to go at arm's length to do whatever they can to try to sabotage this election again, but it's not going to happen. And Trump will be your next president. I have fireworks ready to go. They will be popped in my street.
Do you think that Republicans have done everything in their power to try and sabotage elections in their favor?
No.
Okay.
But they're gonna.
Right.
Yeah. It's the only way to win.
Do you agree to or admit to the idea that either party, Republican or Democrat, tries to redraw voting districts to make it more favorable to them?
No. I've never heard of that until
gerrymandering, it's called.
Yeah, I know what gerrymandering is, and no, I don't believe that we've done it as much as the Democrats.
No, but I'm saying, do you think any political bodies do it?
Well, I don't understand what you mean. You talking about?
Does gerrymandering exist?
Yes.
Okay, so you agree that whoever it is, whether it's Democrats or Republicans, they try to redraw voting districts to make it more favorable to them.
I think the Republicans started doing it because they couldn't keep up with the Democrats doing it.
Okay.
And all they're doing, all the Republicans are doing is employing the same nasty, dirty tactics that the Democrats have been doing for decades.
Okay. Let me ask this.
And now the Democrats see them being carbon copied with their bullshit, and they don't like it.
All right. Let me ask you this question. We'll start with you, Dad. How do you think, let's say that there are no voting districts. They get wiped out and they all have to be redrawn. How should they be drawn?
According to the population's registration.
Counties.
Is it counties? Is it squares? What is it?
Well, it depends on how many votes. Like if you got 20 electoral votes in your state, there should be 20 different boxes.
And how should those boxes be drawn?
Like I said, the majority of the registrations in that district.
Right, but should it be a square, a circle, a strange shape with a little dot here and a little dot there?
It should be a It should be a square, like a county or whatever.
Here's what I think: the way they redistrict, whatever it's called, gerrymandering, I don't think it's going to affect the national power of stuff, but at the district level it will. But I don't think like national level it will.
Yeah, you're expecting. No, it doesn't. No. It won't in the general election. Won't make a goddamn bit of difference. It won't make a bit of difference.
Because general election goes by counties.
It won't make a bit of difference.
All right. Haley,
Trump's going to win. I'll tell you this right now. Trump is going to win Wisconsin. And he's going to win Minnesota. And it's not because of gerrymandering. It's because there's too many damn Muslims there.
Huh? What does that have to do with anything?
It has to do with a lot. This country's going to turn on those people.
Here, I just found something. The Freedom to Vote Act creates a presumption that a redistricting plan is impermissible if it creates a partisan advantage of 7% or one congressional district, whichever is greater.
Yeah.
So
your little spot
on the national level, it's not going to do anything.
You guys don't follow all the way through to the end. You jump on something that flips in your favor, and you think that's the law now.
Chad, why are you coughing? You sick?
Nope, I'm fine. All right, well, let's move on. We've gotten a little.
You got the Chinese flu.
You got the COVID.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a good simmer down question
down
today.
There.
Good simmer down. Good simmer down question. Haley, who is the greatest musical artist of all time?
You've already done
We've talked about this one before.
So,
yes.
Mom was Michael Jackson.
You smoking dope?
My God, you're losing your
mind.
Depends
on it depends on how you're looking at it. Like, are we talking about people who actually play instruments? Immediately. Are we talking about?
No, hang on. If we've already asked this question, we gotta think of something else.
I've already thought of one.
Oh, great. What do you got?
What is your most favorite memory of Christmas with our family? It could be old, young, teenager, whatever age you were.
Okay.
Just
That's
one.
easy.
All right.
Just one.
Yeah, I
You
got it.
can't.
That's easy for me.
Got it.
Go, Haley.
Nanny and Popcorn's house, probably
Nanny and Popcorn
1990,
are grandparents, my mother's parents.
maybe 1990. Their house. I have so many from their house, but specifically Dad. I was a fat kid, and you guys bought me a dress for like Christmas Eve dinner, and Mom washed it, and it shrunk, and it didn't fit me anymore. So my dad put this fucking dress on. I was what, maybe like 10? I was about 10.
Yeah.
So he
Fourth
put a
grade.
10-year-old fucking dress on
A
and like
10-year-old
stretched
girl
it out
dress.
for me. Yeah. And he stretched it out for me so I could get it back on. And he ran around the house and shit trying to escape pictures, but we got one. So
Do
that
we
is
have one?
definitely, yeah, there's a
Somewhere.
photo of Dad running in that dress.
Mom, you have to put that up on Necessary
Wait,
Conversation
but
Instagram.
he did that. So you're saying you remember that because he did that out of love to stretch
Of
your dress
course.
out?
I was a fat kid, dress shrunk, and he said, I'll put it on, I'll stretch it back out for you. And then it
Interesting.
fit. I'll never forget it.
What was the color of the dress?
Red and black.
Red,
Yeah.
black, and gold.
And gold. Mm-hmm.
My
I remember
memory
that.
is slightly different. It's the opposite. I don't know when this was. Sometime approaching 10. I think I remember telling you, Mom and Dad, that I knew Santa Claus wasn't real. And we always had this thing at our grandparents' house, Nanny and Popcorn's house, where a literal Santa Claus would come in, hand out presents to all the kids. And I was like, I know that that's just some guy you guys hire. I see Nanny give him the check when he leaves. And that year for Christmas, from Santa, I was given a shoebox full of coal.
This is true. Because you knew every gift you were getting and you kept rubbing it in our face about it. So.
And did you ultimately end up with nothing but coal?
No, I got some other presents, but like the big Santa present was coal.
And should you be in therapy over that, I guess, now?
Core
No.
memory.
Yeah, it is a core memory. I'll never forget it.
As a
Never
bad
forget it.
memory?
What's that? No, it was a great
bad?
memory. I loved getting a shoebox full of coal. It was very fun. Mom, what is your Christmas memory?
This isn't Christmas, but I remember setting the porch on fire during the 4th of July one year at Nanny and Popcorn's house as well.
That
I have
was
a
me.
lot
did.
of like
I
I
did
have
that.
a lot of memory. I know. I have a lot of good memories
Yeah.
at Nanny and Popcorn's house.
But it wasn't just straight pyromania. It was 4th
No.
of July, and I accidentally lit an entire box
Fireworks.
of fireworks that started going off on their porch.
You guys remember the sweat burgers, your popcorn you cook out in the
Stop it.
grill?
And
Yeah.
when Chad lit that on fire and Haley, they lit the porch on fire. I remember my dad having the hose coming from the side. I think my mom and I had just got back from groceries. My dad's going, "No problem, pal. I've got it covered." And he
Yeah, he
took
thought it
the
was funny.
hose and hosed it down.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What are your
Okay.
your Christmas memories, Mom?
The one with Chad would be he used to get so worked up at Christmas because of the gifts that he usually had on pajamas or PJs laying on the couch waiting for gifts to unwrap because he would have a fever of 101 because he couldn't wait to unwrap the at or he couldn't
It
wait.
wasn't that I got worked up over the presents. It was that Nanny Popcorn's house was filled with smoke and
Yeah, they
booze
smoked.
and
No,
it was an
no.
environment that was like
And then-
very
and then for
conducive to
fun-
lowering your immune system.
And then for fun, we would play poker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you worked
I remember
yourself
that.
up over the gifts.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then Haley's would be when Chad was probably 5 and we went out to St. John, Kansas to cut down the Christmas tree. It was probably 10 o'clock at night. The snow literally was glistening from the moon. Dad and Chad, little club leg, was running out there after his favorite tree. Yeah, he had a club leg back then.
You had
I
a
can-
brace on your leg.
Yeah,
Huh.
he had a brace on his leg. He was like little Joe. What do you call that guy with the little crippled leg? Anyway,
O.J. Simpson.
Little Joe.
I can see
That
him and
happened to
Dad.
O.J. Simpson.
I can see him and Dad out there running around, and Chad was looking for the perfect tree. Haley was in my arms as a baby, with a bottle, we didn't get out. It was so cold, but I can see Chad and Dad out there running around. And Haley was in my arms, and I thought, this is it. This is perfection.
Dad, what's your Christmas memory?
Well, mine takes me back to probably 7 or 8 years old. We got snowed in at the farm, couldn't get out. So Dad had to fire up the tractor. We were all dressed up for midnight mass, and me and my sister were hanging onto the wheel wells. Dad was driving the tractor, and Mom was standing behind him hanging on. And he drove us across this open field that had no tracks on it. And it's like Mom said, the snow was glistening. And a friend picked us up in a truck when we got to the highway, and we all went to midnight mass.
All right. Well, there you have it. Those are our Christmas memories. Some good ones, some interesting ones.
Some not so good ones.
And we've had some bad ones too. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. But we hope everybody out there is having a good Christmas, a good holiday season. Now it's time to jump back into the news. Mass shooting. Police had the opportunity to stop a mass shooting, but didn't again. Roughly a year and a half after police in Uvalde, Texas stood by and let a mass shooting kill 18 children and 2 adults instead of intervening, new information is emerging about police ineptitude in Maine's deadliest mass shooting, which took place in October, in which Army reservist named Robert Card killed 18 people. Police who declined to confront an Army reservist in the weeks before he killed 18 people in Maine's deadliest mass shooting feared that doing so would, quote, throw a stick of dynamite on a pool of gas, according to a video released Friday by law enforcement. This video has been released, and it documents a September 16th call between a Sagadahoc County Sheriff Sergeant Aaron Schofield and Army Reservist Captain Jeremy Reamer. Schofield was following up with Reamer about the potential threat posed by Robert Card, who was the mass shooter. Military officials alerted police in September that Card had been hospitalized in July after exhibiting erratic behavior while training, that he still had access to weapons, and that he threatened to, quote, shoot up the Army Reserve Center.
He needed an MRI.
The sheriff's department responded by briefly asking about the Reserve Center and going to Card's home for a welfare check. In the video, Schofield is heard mentioning that taking Card's guns via Maine's yellow flag law might be akin to, again, throwing a stick of dynamite on a pool of gas, and the police opted to intervene in no way whatsoever. Schofield also referred to Card as a big family in this area and said he didn't want to publicize that police were visiting his home. A report released last week by Sagadahoc Sheriff Joel Mary made clear that local law enforcement knew months before the attack that Card's mental health was deteriorating. Police were aware of reports that he was paranoid, hearing voices, experiencing psychotic episodes, and possibly dealing with schizophrenia. They were also aware that he had access to weapons. Attorneys for the shooting victim's family said the footage supports a pattern of police ignoring clear warning signs about Card in the weeks prior to the shooting. Mom or Dad, is Mom there? Did she?
Yes. She's here, but she's holding Kitty.
All right. Dad, then, do you think these cops failed at their job?
They don't want to do their job anymore. All it does is get you put in prison. So just stay away from it.
Well, I mean, this is probably going to get them put in prison.
Maybe it will.
They won't get put in prison for this.
What's
for
going to
not
happen?
taking
Nothing?
action? They're not going to go to jail. It's not a crime to not do anything. Some of these cops might get fired. I would even doubt that, though.
You get into more shit with all this wokeness in the world, and it's not going to stop.
How does wokeness come into play here? Excuse me?
People are fed up. Huh?
What does this have to do with wokeness in any way?
Oh, that's what's caused it all.
Huh?
He was literally like textbook fucking mass murderer.
That's not woke. That's as woke as it fucking gets.
In my opinion, this is why we should be defunding the police. Why are we paying these guys to not stop this?
You're not paying these guys to do something.
We're paying them to not do something.
You are now paying them not to do something.
That's what I'm saying. Did they fail at their job? They are collecting a paycheck from the taxpayers.
Their job is to prove the left right, that you don't need police. That's why everybody's getting gunned down and murdered, because you don't need police. I'm being sarcastic here, doofus.
What will President Trump do? He will reinforce our police officers and tell them to go out and enforce.
You are immune from prosecution.
He's going to say enforce the law. Go do your job.
But they're not. These guys weren't going to kick in this dude's door and shoot him in the head. They were just supposed to potentially take his guns under Maine's yellow flag law, which that's a law. They can do that.
The great state of Maine.
And maybe then even get him checked into some kind of psychiatric care.
And they didn't do their job. But they didn't because they were probably afraid.
Hey,
afraid of what?
Isn't psychiatric evaluation the job of the new woke movement that should bring in counselors and all that stuff to take care of it? Where were they?
What?
This
guy was reported as a credible threat.
He keeps
reported
that
by people at the fucking
Army
Army Reserve.
Does that make?
Because somebody from the Army Reserve called the police and said, I think this guy is going to do a mass shooting.
Yeah.
And they said, fuck it, let him do it.
You know what? What you just brought up is not what you asked me, and it's irrelevant.
No, what I asked you is, did the cops fail at their job here?
The stuff that you're bringing up is irrelevant. You
stuff?
no longer have relevance, Mr. Woke.
I'm asking you this question. Did these cops fail at their job? Yes or no?
No. They did the job they're getting paid to do. Stay away and watch.
I'm afraid.
Did they fail at their job?
Yes, because they should have went in there. But if they went in and did anything against that person, then that person would take them to jail and lock them up forever.
So you believe cops should be given carte blanche to do whatever they want to anyone?
Absolutely.
Not if it's no.
Okay.
At this point in time, yes.
Yeah, I mean they basically have that.
No, they don't.
No, they don't.
Come on. How many people are they just fucking killing left and right?
You're the one living in a fucking world that doesn't fucking exist. I live in a world that exists.
Okay. But you're constantly saying woke doesn't matter, woke doesn't exist. Does it or doesn't it? Can cops kill people without repercussion or can't they?
Woke.
Put your hand
mattered for about a year, and it no longer matters now.
Okay.
LGBTQ ABCDFG is figuring that out already.
All right.
There's
so if it doesn't matter,
coming their way, and
you just said woke doesn't matter. So if it doesn't matter, why didn't these cops stop this guy?
Because it still matters in that state.
So it does still matter. Does it matter or does it not matter?
No, I'm talking about, you get confused with little bitty local bullshit compared to the national level.
Bullshit.
This
is the biggest mass shooting in the history of Maine.
Okay, I'm not talking anymore.
Why?
Because I'm sick and tired of telling you the same fucking thing that's factual, and you sit here and argue with me. Like
that's
you're
what
some,
the whole show
like
is.
You're some
we have conversations about these.
You know what you are? You're the fucking Supreme Court from Colorado. You make the fucking rules. And your rules are shit.
I'm out.
All right. Mom, should anything be done to these cops?
I don't know. I'm afraid. Here's what I said. I'm afraid if they would have went in and done anything like against that guy, then they would have went to prison. That's where the cops are. They're afraid.
Like take away his guns.
Cops are afraid.
No, but why they're not going to go into that guy's house and shoot him? They just were meant to take his guns.
Why aren't they?
What if the guy shot first, then the cop shot back and killed him, but then they said, oh, he didn't shoot first, stuff like that. That's what's scary now.
Here.
All right.
Well, that's why we wear cop cams.
Well,
yeah, there you go.
I don't.
Let me ask you this, Mom. Clearly, we talk about mass shootings being like especially on the Republican side, a lot of people like to say it's a mental health issue. Here, that is true. And this guy was screened. He was found to be a threat. That threat was reported to the police and nothing was done about it. So what can we do to stop mass shootings? It's not about saying that it's a mental health issue, which I agree it is, but it doesn't matter because even when that's found out, nothing happens.
Would you have been afraid to go through that door and ask for his gun when you know he's mental?
Matter.
I don't care. These are cops. That's your job. If you want to be a cop, if you're afraid, you have to overcome that fear to move into action to do that job.
And that's probably why we don't have a lot of them anymore. Yeah.
But I mean,
I think they're afraid of the backlash. I think they're afraid of the backlash now because of what can happen to them.
But there should be
think they just don't
backlash.
give a shit.
That's what I think too. I think it's like
They
too
just
much
don't give a
effort.
shit. Yeah, like,
Yeah, he's got some guns and he's crazy, whatever.
whatever.
And then as long as you're able to, like when a mass shooting does pop off like this and you had the chance to stop him, as long as you're able to be like defer blame. Well, my boss told me I don't know, or this guy was supposed to do it wasn't me. As long as you can defer
They should
blame.
all be fired.
Are you
They
done
should all
ranting?
be fired.
I have something to interject here.
Okay.
It only takes a second.
Sure.
Back on the reason for the season, the baby Jesus is still my favorite Jesus.
Oh, yes, we know.
Oh, dear God.
Let's move on. We have one final topic here. Trump on tape. Craig Magger of the Detroit News broke a story this week that involved audio tapes of Donald Trump personally pressuring 2 Republican members of the Wayne County Board of Canvassers not to sign the certification of the 2020 presidential election and ultimately offering to, in quotes, take care of getting them attorneys if needed.
Why are you emphasizing words and shit?
Because he said take care. I'm emphasizing because it's a direct quote from Donald Trump.
Go ahead.
We'll take care of that.
All right.
Take care of your legal problems if you do this illegal thing for
You're
me.
terrible.
Free food.
You're terrible.
Palmer and Hartman left the canvassers meeting without signing the official statement of votes for Wayne County, and the following day, they unsuccessfully attempted to rescind their votes in favor of certification, filing legal affidavits claiming they were pressured. So there's legal documentation by these 2 people that he was on a phone call with saying they were legally pressured, and there's a tape of the phone call of him legally pressuring them.
Are you ever going to bring me anything that matters?
The moves from Palmer, Hartman, and Trump have been, had they been successful, threatened to throw the statewide certification of Michigan's 2020 election into doubt. The revelation of the contents of the call with the former president comes as he faces 4 counts of criminal conspiracy to defraud the United States and its voters of the rightful outcome of the election. Efforts to prevent certification of Democrat Joe Biden's 154,000 vote victory in Michigan are an integral part of that indictment. The recordings very, very clearly demonstrate the direct involvement of Trump as an incumbent president with Republican officials in Michigan in a bid to undermine Biden's win.
Those tapes are AI.
Okay.
He thinks they're fake?
Yes.
Okay. Is this the smoking gun, Haley?
I think it's one of, I think there's probably more. I mean, if they have one, I feel like they've got more. So, I mean, one of them, certainly.
I agree. To me, the most important thing or most interesting thing about these tapes is the fact that they exist, because it really shows that nobody trusted Donald Trump in any of this shit. So supposedly how these tapes were made was Trump calls these 2 canvassers. There are other people like aides and shit with them. They get into a car to take the call, and the fucking aides or whoever else was with them get in the back seat of that car, flip their fucking recorders on their phone, and they're just recording it all. And so that means that even these people that Trump thought were loyalists in the Republican Party in Michigan, thought that he could get them to do his dark bidding, they themselves are recording his phone calls because they knew that it was illegal. They knew he was up to bad shit. Mom, do you think it's a smoking gun?
No, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I don't think it's real.
You know
I think they're just.
Wait, you don't think these recordings are real?
Yeah, you're in a panic.
You understand that people bringing shit like this to light, if they're not real, they go to fucking prison.
You are.
I'm not in a panic.
panic.
I'm in a panic. You're the ones who open every podcast saying, if we don't win this next election, our way of life is over.
Yeah,
I have never said that. I don't. That's not a panic.
That's not a panic.
What I think.
That's a fact.
What I think is funny is you pick up on this stuff for us to talk about.
Yeah.
But 3 days ago, they now have Biden on some recordings and emails in regard to all the big officials and Hunter. But we never talk about that.
I have said this so many times I can't count. If you want to produce this show, an episode of it, or even a segment, any portion of it, all you have to do is email me what you want to talk about. I'll even still do the document. I'll even do all the work of it. Just send me what you want to talk about. Yeah.
Chad, you're doing a very good job. You're producing very well.
Thank you.
But to me and a lot of my friends, a lot of my DMs, They say it's
Patriot.
very
Jesus'
biased.
birthday.
They
Look,
say
I'm
it's
happy to
biased.
turn over control of this entire thing to you or Dad or whoever. If you guys want to produce an episode or even a segment, and I'm not even saying you have to do the work of it, just send me a link to an article about whatever the thing is. I'll put it in. I'll include it.
I'm
you
not
never do.
arguing. I'm not going to argue with you on Christmas Day and the baby Jesus Day, but I do think it's a little biased. I knew you wouldn't bring up the Biden thing.
I'm telling
I knew
you,
you
if
wouldn't.
there's something you absolutely want to talk about, send me the link. I'll make sure it's in the thing. I'm up at 1 a.m. cobbling this shit together the night before the shows. So you can't complain about the topics if you don't submit your topics.
Okay, I'll submit them.
Obviously, you do it the night before the show because by the time the show starts, the stuff you're talking about's already old news.
Oh God!
Anytime you want to produce it, I'd love to see you host one of these and produce all 4 segments. Dad, do you have any interest?
I could turn this into a comedy show you would not believe.
Maybe next episode. Do you want to produce the next episode?
I don't need to produce it. I'll just sit here and start throwing my one-liners out here.
Oh God! Oh,
You're in up over your neck on that,
all right,
buddy boy.
You in up over your neck.
Who's the guy that stood up in front of people in a bookstore and read your filthy book? I did.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a nice.
You can't embarrass me.
Merry Christmas.
I'm not trying to embarrass anyone. Okay. Mom, do you care at all that Trump is on tape encouraging public officials to commit fraud in a presidential election?
Yeah, it's probably not the best thing.
Yeah.
Probably not the best thing, but again, is it real? Who knows?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
That doesn't make you question him even just a little fucking bit.
No.
Why?
No.
How shady
How is that possible? He's on tape trying to convince people to throw out the actual election results in a presidential election. Yes, he is on tape.
He's on tape?
Yes.
Well, you ought to know. You're an expert on his voice. So
That's
you can
right.
tell what
He's on
you can tell whether that's
tape,
AI or not.
convincing people.
Yeah, it's a original Donald Trump then, right?
You know,
yes.
like
these
I said,
tapes have been corroborated. They are real.
By who? Who have corroborated them?
Plenty of journalists at this point.
Who?
Journalists.
What
the guy
journalist?
who wrote this article, for one, Craig Maurer of the Detroit News. He was the one who broke this story.
There you go.
What I see,
Detroit.
What I think is funny too. What I think is funny. I know you say we always flip it, but like I'll watch TV where what's the redheaded lady that we just can't stand? How she says
MSNBC.
Yeah, she goes.
The old former White House press secretary.
It starts with a
Jen Psaki.
Yeah, how she says that there is no
Who has
evidence.
A total of 150 viewers on a national.
There is
TV
no evidence against Biden at all for any crime that he did.
Mm. There isn't so far.
That's because she's going to jail.
They're uncovering these emails. They're uncovering stuff, and we'll see. That'll all play out in a court, just as all of Trump's things are doing. But this piece of evidence, which is going to be used in this case against him, it's pretty hard to deny. He's on tape asking these people to not certify the fucking votes in the presidential election.
Yeah. He probably thinks that's a Medal of Honor, probably.
What do you mean, Medal of Honor?
Like he's probably proud he asked them to do that, I guess. I don't know.
But you think it's wrong, right? You think that's wrong.
Yeah, that's not right. But look,
so Trump is not infallible.
What I'm trying to say is I have to weigh which side is the worst. And right now, of course, it's Biden. It's not even close.
But Donald Trump has tried to overthrow the fucking government. He's tried to throw away fucking votes. Like,
when was that? When?
This is what we're talking about. This phone call.
That's overthrowing the government?
Yes, it is saying.
Oh, dear God.
The number one thing, in my opinion, maybe not the number one, but one of the most important things about the American democracy is that we have this peaceful transfer of power and that the election sticks. Whatever the people say is who the president is. He's trying to say, what Trump was trying to do is, I know Joe Biden won the election. I don't like that outcome, so I'm going to cheat to overturn it. That's what he was trying to have happen.
No, what he was trying to say is Joe Biden cheated to win by dead people voting, by ballots that were lost, by this, by that. So he was trying to balance it out. That's my opinion.
You
Okay.
cannot be
So
this
that's how
stupid.
you rationalize
Like
it.
you literally cannot be this dumb.
Hell, call me stupid.
It is like this
Merry
is literally
Christmas
just fucking.
to you too.
It's not
Oh
stupidity
my
though.
God.
It's not stupidity. It's a at this
Oh my
point
God.
a thing that's been about a decade-long brainwashing that's happened.
It's a disease.
Like it's fucking insane.
How about what they're doing to
literally-
Giuliani? You think that's fair? Jesus Christ. Giuliani?
You know what?
You know what? Okay, I shouldn't have brought it up.
What?
Never mind. Never mind.
Did he
Yeah,
say something
what?
else?
What
I got to
about
beep.
Giuliani?
Yeah, you might need to listen. No, I don't think he
55.
said
Yeah,
it.
they're just two fat black deadbeats.
Okay. Merry Christmas.
where was the
Like you have to understand though that this is wrong, correct? What he did was wrong.
No.
Like I said, Dad doesn't think it's real. I don't know. I haven't even heard it. First time I heard it was when Chad brought it up today. So I need to go.
It is real.
I need to investigate and read more about it. I would like.
All right.
I would
It
like
is
to have
real.
that.
The Russian disinformation was wrong.
Okay,
Also.
and the laptop was wrong
all
too.
wrong, too.
Yeah, that was wrong.
Mhm.
Yeah, and all
I
the
don't-
hookers he paid for and all the cocaine. Yeah, that was all wrong. Yeah.
So
It's
you
what
do
you
agree
believe
that
the most.
he's no, well, that is the real bottom line here in America. It's
What do you believe?
which means the
Yeah.
facts are fucking meaningless. And so if
Yeah.
you're looking at, it's just who do you hate more? You guys hate Biden. So all of the illegal shit that you think Biden is doing is true. You guys love Trump. So all the illegal shit that he's doing, even if there's like hardcore evidence, like a tape of him doing it, you guys say that's AI, that doesn't exist. You can
No,
understand
like I
how-
said, no, like I said, I need to research that. I didn't know about it.
All right. Definitely
Yeah.
research it because it
I
is
will.
real. It is happening. And I'm not advocating for or against Trump or Biden. I don't like either one of them. I
Mhm.
think they both do very shady shit. And it's just a matter of can they get caught in it. That really is the game of American politics now. It's
Tell
how
me-
much money can I get from corporations and do illegal shit to enrich myself and get away
Here's-
with it.
Here's what I'm
They
afraid
are
of
getting
too.
away with it. Every day they get away with it.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm afraid of. I truly
Like the two fat women that are suing.
I
Giuliani.
truly believe that our United States has gotten more stupid instead of smart. So I saw something on TV where they asked this girl, young girl walking down the streets of New York, about Kamala Harris. And do you really like her as vice president? Oh, yeah, she's great. Do you like her policies? I love all her policies. Yes. And they said, what is one of her policies? And she couldn't come up with one. So see, that's what's going on with our country too. That scares me.
Yeah, but I mean, policies of vice presidents.
Well, she was supposed to be in
charge
charge of the border, didn't do a damn thing there, but
Yeah. Well, I think we're in a very bad situation in America politically and in many other ways, but we're at a point in human history where the billionaire CEOs of large corporations really control all of it, or at least in America. I know in Russia it's a little bit different. The oligarchs are kind of woven into the fabric of politics there. But here you have giant corporations, pharmaceutical corporations, energy corporations like Exxon. They are the ones who actually are writing most of our laws and control almost all of it. And the politicians are just kind of their little puppets that get up there to do the dance so that it seems like we have a choice. Choose this team or this team, but it ultimately doesn't matter because the corporations own both teams,
Keep their economy running. Guess
in
what
my
it is?
humble opinion. What's he talking about back there?
I don't know.
I'm talking to Mom.
Just zip it. Go ahead.
Is he just gone now? He's
No,
done away
he's
with the
starting.
podcast?
He's looking at Newsmax and reading the blue at the bottom and saying, "Looky there, looky there." I told him to zip it for a minute.
All right. Well, that wraps up our show. Thank you, everyone, for joining us and for joining us all this year. 2023 has been a wild one. We hope everybody's having a great holiday season with your friends and family, however you're celebrating it. And 2024 is right around the corner, and we know what that means.
Yay!
The
Yay!
2024 presidential election is going to be coming up. We're going to be doing the show through that. And obviously, we've all made some predictions about it, and we'll see what winds up happening. Will Joe Biden be the next president? Will it be Donald Trump? Will we descend into a chaotic civil war that has my dad in the streets shooting whoever he can sniff out as a Democrat? We'll have to
What
see.
was that magazine you just bought?
Henry Rifles and Handguns.
Henry Rifles and Handguns just came in the mail the other day.
Cool. Oh my God. As we're talking about this whole episode had to think about mass shooting in it, and Dad's talking about how he's literally going to go out in the street and kill people, and he's buying gun magazines. Do we need to call the Maine police so they can do
another
nothing?
MRI.
He said he needs another MRI. Yes.
I agree. Before we go, as always, we have had these political differences, but we must come together as a family. Haley, I love you. Mom, I love you. Dad, wherever you are, I love you.
I'm sorry I called you stupid. That was not very nice. I just simply cannot believe that you cannot believe facts. It's infuriating.
What makes them
Mom, I love you. Dad, I love you. Chad, I love you.
Chad, I love you. Haley, I love you. I'm not stupid. I think you and Chad are stupid. And I love you, Bob. I can't believe you two, I raised you smart, but now you're over on the other side, and that kills me.
I'm not on the other side. That's what kills me. I don't know how many of these episodes we have to do where I say, I don't like Joe Biden either. I don't like either one of them. I think the entire American political system is totally fucked. It's so corrupt from top to bottom. And even if somebody gets into that system and wants to do good, you're there for 2 years, that's out the window because you realize you're up against a fucking brick wall, so you might as well make some money. That's what happens to every one of them.
Okay.
I say we just go.
I love you, Chad. I love you, Haley.
I can't find him.
You, Mary Lou. And I hate all Democrats.
I think we just need to go into the AI world and just make cute AI things. That's what I'm going to do.
Me too. That is some common ground right there. But thank you, everybody, for joining us. Again, we hope you have a great holiday. If you want to send us a question in 2024, send a 1-minute or shorter audio clip to the necessaryconversationpod@gmail.com. And we'll see you in the 2024 presidential election year for our next episode.
Wow. Okay. Bye.
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 Dad was crazy.